Donald Trump has pushed things so far that Iran has publicly issued him an ultimatum, adding that if Trump does not comply, he will not get a peace agreement, and Iran will begin attacking not only the countries of the Persian Gulf, but will expand the war, from the Strait of Hormuz to the Indian Ocean, to the Bab el-Mandeb Strait, to the Red Sea, and even to the Mediterranean Sea, reaching the shores of Europe, which potentially means that Iran will expand the war all the way to European countries. And now Iran is demanding exactly the same thing for which Trump so loudly criticized Barack Obama, who made the nuclear deal with Iran in 2015. Iran's demand is simple: the unfreezing of $24 billion of Iranian assets even before signing a preliminary agreement. And until Trump gives Iran $24 billion, Tehran promises not to make any agreements with the United States of America. My name is Alexei Pichi, and let's discuss this topic together. But before we start, I ask you to subscribe to this channel, like the video, leave any comment, and subscribe to my Telegram channel Pichi News. The link is in the description of this video. So, Donald Trump has brought the situation in the war with Iran to the point where Tehran is now effectively demanding a ransom and threatening to expand the war all the way to Europe. A high-ranking Iranian official and military advisor to Iran's supreme leader Ayatollah Mojtaba Khamenei, Mohsen Rezaei, said in an interview with CNN that any potential peace agreement between the US and Iran depends on whether the Donald Trump administration agrees to unblock $24 billion in frozen Iranian assets or not. Rezai's quote, "Negotiations have reached a dead end," and the president. Negotiations have reached a dead end, and US President Donald Trump must get them out of this deadlock. The ball is in Trump's court. Let me remind you that Iran is demanding the unfreezing of $12 billion in frozen funds immediately or at the moment of signing a temporary agreement with the US, that is, the Memorandum of Understanding itself, and another $12 billion at a later stage when negotiations on the nuclear agreement are already underway. But American officials are concerned that unfreezing the funds at this stage could deprive them of a key leverage over the Iranian regime. Because essentially Iran would get $12 billion without any concessions, without any commitments. Because signing a memorandum, that is a temporary agreement, does not obligate them to anything yet. And American officials are afraid that Iran, after receiving these $12 billion, could simply walk away from the deal. So once again, the point is that right now Trump is seeking to sign a memorandum of understanding which will outline the terms for how they will continue negotiations for the next 60 days about a full-fledged peace agreement, a nuclear deal, and so on. And so Iran says, okay, let's sign this temporary agreement, but at this stage, give us $12 billion. There are no obligations. Then Iran will say, we've changed our minds, got the money, goodbye. Trump put forward a demand that any agreement be significantly tougher than the nuclear deal concluded in 2015 and to avoid anything that could be seen as handing over pallets of cash. This is an expression that Trump repeatedly used to criticize then-President Barack Obama's decision to provide Iran with financial compensation. That is, Trump loudly said, "I won't give Iran a single penny until there is a tough nuclear agreement." Now Iran is saying, well, listen, no money, no deal. In addition, the military advisor to the Iranian leader, Rezaei, shed light on the views of Iranian strategists regarding Iran's post-war future, the fate of the Hormuz Strait, and possible actions Iran might take in the event of another attack. The CNN article notes that his remarks carry weight because he remains closely connected to Iran's security forces and is considered close to the current supreme leader, who has not been seen in public since he was wounded during an Israeli attack that killed his father on the first day of the war. In particular, Rezaei noted that the possible unfreezing of funds by the Donald Trump administration would open a new chapter for the future of Iran and America. Here is his quote, "If Trump wants to reach an agreement with Iran, these $24 billion are a test of whether Iran can trust Trump. This is a test that America must pass, and then the path will be open. This is our own money, not America's money." Could you have imagined before the war that began on February 28 that Iranian officials would personally dictate to Donald Trump what he must do? That Iranian officials would say, listen, you still have to, or rather, you still need to earn our trust, So give us $24 billion and then we'll start trusting you, and then we'll start having at least some kind of dialogue with you. But that's not all. He warned that Iran would expand the zone of hostilities beyond the Persian Gulf if the US resumes the conflict, which, according to him, would lead to the spread of military operations. From the Strait of Hormuz to the Indian Ocean, to the Bab el-Mandeb Strait, to the Red Sea, and to the Mediterranean Sea. Rezaei stated directly, quote, "We will give this war a completely different dimension by attacking those other American bases that we have not attacked so far." And this is already a direct threat to start attacks on European military bases in the Mediterranean Sea. CNN writes that Rezaei did not answer the question about Khomeini's health and his role in the country's decision-making process, but rejected the prospect of his meeting with Trump. Quote, "No, that will not happen. Right now we are at the first stage of negotiations, and Mr. Trump has led these negotiations to a dead end. There will be no personal meeting. Here I have to note that the Iranians are really humiliating Donald Trump right now. The thing is, Trump said 2 days ago that he and Khamenei get along very well and that it would be an honor for him to meet with the Iranian leader. Trump said that their personal meeting will definitely happen. Now the Iranians are telling him, nobody wants to meet with you. You will not have any personal meeting with Khamenei. In addition, Rezaei noted that Iran and Oman have sovereignty over the key waterway, the Hormuz Strait, through which before the war a fifth of the world's oil and liquefied natural gas used to pass, and therefore Oman and Iran will jointly manage the Hormuz Strait. He refrained from calling the requirement to pay for ships passing through the strait a toll, noting that Iran will charge a service fee since it should not bear the costs of managing the strait. Although this is complete nonsense, I will note that the strait has functioned for years, for decades, without such a tricky scheme of charges. Iran did not receive any payment at all for ships passing through the Armutsky Strait, but for some reason it still functioned. And now Iran says, listen, we need to collect money from ships so that we can ensure the functioning of the strait. And here I should note that as a representative of the old guard of the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps, Rezaei fought in the Iran-Iraq War. Subsequently, he led the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps from 1981 to 1997, helping to turn them into one of the most powerful institutions of the Islamic Republic. Accordingly, as a hardliner and someone deeply rooted in Iran's security system, Rezaei later joined the Expediency Council. This council advises Iran's supreme leader, and he was vice president under former President Ibrahim Raisi. And it is worth noting that Rezaei ran for president 4 times, but never won. Now he is one of the people closest to the Iranian leader. And here's what's remarkable. It's been more than a day since the Iranian official made such statements, but Donald Trump has not commented on them in any way. I'll leave it at that. Share your opinions and conclusions in the comments below this episode. Subscribe to the channel, hit the bell, and don't forget to like. That's all for now. Take care of yourselves. Goodbye, everyone. Subtitles.